No way?
No mic.
I'd really like to hear your voice through the mic.
Peer
Hello,
pressure.
how does this sound? ASMR-esque, like fun? Better? Okay, there we go. Well, we were supposed to perform 3, so just pretend that first one didn't happen. That was like warm-up, discovery session anyways.
First one? Yeah, I made that joke.
Okay. Session 2. Sometimes I strike the page like a match and wonder why the line looks crooked. That to want is just a polite need, and if this fire I call home was made by me. Me, I don't know how to cure absurdism or only any diagnosed think. To walk the line, pen in hand, smearing the ground below with a glow. This time I write, quote, a borrowed metaphor is just an idea trying to live a little longer. I'm afraid I think in complete sentences. I feel like I write fragments now so I can wonder what I meant by that line later. Come to think, the mountain with just your worries, we can burn together there. Crazy how if you draw a line through meaning, you'd end in a circle a little more whole. I think I want to be happy. Hands are only lonely once they've met love and lost it. Strange to look down and need to write that. Bottling a feeling for long enough can generate some poems that burst like firecrackers. I felt that yesterday when it happened again. I wish to start a sentence with a question mark as a way to let you know I have no conclusion. That excites me more than finishing a sentence. Too many people have a direction in life that they expect me to draw a line between where I was and where I'm going, all while being sad. This is something I should expect for myself, but I don't. A breath can make the difference between life and a bad line. These free writes always make me feel like I could play the drums again for the first time. Pianos can't lie. Socrates' voices always tell me to kill. I am a beautiful instrument who only knows silence. Reflective isn't the half of it. It's just clinical anxiety. If we begin again, I would have ran to that mountain for the weed. This time again, but with a plot. I can draw a straight line so long as it starts and ends with a fire, like a dragon's breath. The match strikes up out of greed. The sun knows it's gonna explode. That's selfish. Your face is only yours if you can look at a mirror again. I like that line. It glowed. Pencils are a great disservice to poetry. I guess fire could also be said then to just be a great disservice. We might all be veiled, but at least I've read, quote, etc., end quote. Too many aphorisms point me in the wrong direction. This line seems to go back and towards the end again. I'd hate to live this life just whispering into unplugged microphones. I need no introduction to someone. If you strike the page, make it scream before it burns.
Okay, next.
Hello. Is this work? Yeah.
Does that feel good?
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hello, guys. So, my name is Talia. I started writing poetry, God knows how long ago. But I got into slam poetry in like 7th, 8th grade, did speech and debate in high school, did poetry and prose. So I'm just going to start with a little short poem called It's Just About Coffee. You know, in the morning, whenever you go to the coffee shop to get your usual, well, no matter your precision or grace, you're going to end up spilling it. Like somehow your hand shakes just enough for a drop to spill over the side, but it doesn't just stop there. That drop cascades down the cup, forming a ring at the bottom, and now the bottom of the cup is drenched and you can't find a coaster and your heart is pounding, maybe because of the coffee, but regardless, you grab a napkin and you wipe off the table because it's just a cup of coffee. Your hand grabs the little foam cup, bringing it up to your lips, your ravenous taste buds collecting drops on your fingers, on your skin. And it doesn't matter that your hands are slightly sticky and the smell is suffocating the room and you know it'll be on your breath upon your next conversation. No, it's just coffee. It's just coffee. Bitter, brown coffee. But it doesn't have to be bitter. It could be sweet, savory, or you could put little foam stuff on it so that when you finish drinking, your top lip has made a friend. And last I checked, yep, that's also real coffee. So don't listen to the people who only drink it plain because what you're drinking, it's good coffee. It's going to be good coffee regardless what metaphors you attach to this. It's just coffee. So universal. Coffee. What do you drink in the morning? Coffee. What do you drink at night? Coffee. What do you drink at 3 p.m.? Whiskey mixed with coffee. But you want to know the irony about the words escaping my lips? It's that I'm actually allergic to coffee. I can't drink the universal bitterness that the rest of the world succumbs to. And I don't want to. I don't want to feel that scorching hot caffeine burn down my esophagus, grip my heart in its hand and squeeze until I'm no longer standing. I don't want it spills on my shirt, those aromatic blobs of brown for people to gawk at wherever I walk by because I don't look like someone who drinks coffee, and I certainly don't want its name on my lips rolling off my tongue every time I speak as if it's the only thing attributed to who I am. No, I don't want that. Not that I can have that, I mean, I'm allergic, but it's nice to dream about being normal, about liking coffee, about going to a coffee shop and buying a regular as if I belong there. But because that's what this is all about, just a normal cup of coffee at a normal, calm coffee shop. It is just about coffee. Right? Thank you. That's the short one.
I love that. I got so excited that I forgot to film you for like half of it.
That's okay.
That's okay. I got the whole thing. It was exciting though.
Alright, let's give it up for Talia and Kaden. You can snap, you can clap. A single clap. Okay, pick a number between 1 through 3.
4.
You said that yesterday.
That was my yesterday. I was
The
prepared.
original.
2.
Great. Alright, I wrote this poem at a workshop that I did in Saratoga Springs in like 2018. And I did it in a writing workshop with this really cool playwright. And he told us to write a list of 10 things that we love. And the first thing I wrote down was pills. And then I wrote this poem. It's called Painkillers at the Dinner Table. Painkillers at the dinner table. Cyclobenzaprine. My tiny grandmother eases my sore muscles with her hot compress as she tucks me into bed every night, helping my limbs sink into the mattress, whispering paralyzing thoughts into my ear. Painkillers at the dinner table, Valium. My favorite twin cousins, always taken in twos, always getting me into trouble, can cause paranoid or suicidal ideation, impair memory, judgment, coordination, but they look like powder pink M&Ms, which means they can't hurt me that much. Painkillers at the dinner table, Vicodin. My creepy monosyllabic uncle that I only see once or twice a year, but when he cooks it's like clockwork. Every 4 hours he crushes it up to put into my orange juice, non-responsive, sympathetic nervous system. No more fight or flight. Painkillers at the dinner table, Tramadol. My stepdad. A fat blue capsule, a petty imitation of what I really want, the generic version of the parent I do like, the parent you're given without even having to ask, can be just as high risk for addiction and dependence. Painkillers at the dinner table, hydrocodone, my absent mother throws me a 20 whenever I ask, a highly coveted thin white body that slips down my throat like ice and sends shockwaves through my system. She is my savior, my greatest pleasure, and the reason for my disappearance. The dinner party. thrown by none other than respected medical professionals with prescription pads in their pockets like it's a fucking potluck. But they don't like to cook, so they order in little orange bottles and they pass through the courses Oxycontin, Percocet, codeine, Dilaudid, morphine, painkillers at the dinner table, and I am at the head of the feast. It's Thanksgiving, and I came with an empty stomach and an insatiable hunger for something only served by every major pharmacy within spitting distance. Look through our window into our dining room, and all you would see is empty seats and me with a fork and a knife and my refillable plate of pills. Thanks.
Yo.
Welcome back to the Katie Show. No, wrong phone. Yeah. So it's like, it's a different other. This one has frogs. Oh, it's so cute. So I think I got the vibe that my first poem was short, and then I realized that all my poems are short, so this is also going to be short, and that's okay. This one's called Session with the Rhyme. Without music, why accumulate in packs of dancing bodies, or pour a drink to clink 3 beers of hard-earned money? Without music, what is a sound worth chasing but a package of words raised while rioting or writing down the clown's frown, biting the lip off the eraser tip to make the word shake for your sake? Can we not dance to romance or paid rent through pockets dent with beer-sized bills? These hills lonely without your grooves, your chic moves, your weak coups, a sweet rebellion through words spoken musically, oozing me, a song to beer pong or parties gone. Without music, why verse free from sonnets or haikus, lest he shoes from pests of unfree verse to rest from your words? Without music, arrests a home from tests and stress of work shifts, school shifts, nights filled with total strings attached like you're the kite string and lightning, avoiding raindrops and frightening landlords and student loans. The tightest sentence is senseless without the party's hop, the beat drop, the hoppy beers, the happy tears. Useless without bad words or slad dorms. Useless without music.
Hey guys, this one's long. Get ready. I feel relaxed. Alright. Now I feel relaxed. This poem is called The Forgotten Sage. It is a prose poem, so it's a bit longer, but yeah. Anecdotes and herbs and medicines and elixirs, whilst being strangled by cobwebs and blanketed with dust, sit upon rotting wooden shelves, lids rusting onto the jars below them, recalling the story of a man who once inhabited this herbal wasteland. The apothecary down the road, whose shop smelled of dried flowers and basil, had a head forested with gray and white. His hands were veiny and speckled with freckles, white age lines carved into his cheeks and forehead. He woke with the sun's rising, often allowing the morn's amber glow to rest peacefully upon his face. Dew covered his feet as he stumbled outdoors, wasting not a moment to attend to his herbs. Chamomile, lavender, ginger, and garlic grew peacefully alongside frankincense and myrrh. Their aromas traveling far beyond the gardens. The scents clung to the man's clothes and his hands and his hair, so that he took his favorite smells with him wherever he went. But not everyone appreciated the concoction of aromas that trailed behind each step he took. People who encountered him often held their noses and turned their backs to him in disgust. His raspy voice glittered the ears of his neighbors while he talked to his plants that he cherished so deeply. His affirmation his affirmations extended from the lemon balm and the rue all the way to the evergreen sage that inhabited the splitting corner of the garden's wooden frame. The sage was often forgotten, never taken off the shelves or plucked by mischievous youth, for it had been replaced by more desirable eucalyptuses and lavenders, but the sage, in its rejected, reclusive glory, was always the apothecary's favorite. Dried and mixed with honey, the sage was a remedy for everything. Headaches, fevers, bad breath, stomach aches, sore throats, anxiety, memory, indigestion. Sage, the apothecary believed, was the fruit of medicinal practice, and so the sage never left his side. One day, the man decided to sleep through the sunrise, leaving the garden's attention for the blistering noon. Customers were scarce, the shop had been tidied, and the garden had been hydrated for weeks on end. So, thought the apothecary, what harm could come from a bit of extra rest? He woke in the night with a cough and a gasp, realizing he had slept the day away, but more importantly, he had left the plants unguarded, free to the oils of ignorant hands, food for the stomachs of pests and night bandits. The apothecary wheezed and jumped from his bed, dusk's cool air flooding through a cracked window. He slipped on his shoes, fumbled his glasses to his nose, and rushed out the door, forgetting his age. Winded and weak, he hovered over his garden as tears fell from his disbelieving eyes. His plans, his job, his children, his life have all been destroyed because of a careless doze. Anger pulsed through the apothecary's fists, and the color drained from his already pale face. He stomped into the shop with glossy eyes, but stopped in front of a broken jar of glass. 100 broken jars of glass. His garden destroyed, his store robbed and broken, and his legs about to collapse from under him. He ran to the garden, uprooted the sage, and took off into the night. Meanwhile, at the village, citizens celebrated the total demolition of the apothecary. Their cheers echoed from under the blazing sun as sweat dripped from their devious brows, yet the cheers and the smiles didn't last long. For autumn's breeze brought colds and flus, as slight famine caused mass indigestion, spring's pollen diminished the ability to breathe, and summer's heat plagued the town's citizens with dizziness. Before they knew it, the citizens were crawling back to the apothecary's shop. The dying and ill searched for any antidote they could find. Wheezing lungs grasped at pills, while stuffy noses battled for mint. Throbbing heads swatted at rosemary, but out of sight was the forgotten, ever-loved sage. Phlegm-filled coughs polluted the air as tears and wounds leaked onto the floor. Trembling hands crashed into shelves, clawing for a remedy, an antidote, a fix, a cure, anything that could soothe their sick. Alas, there was nothing to be found. For after the apothecary had gone, he had destroyed all his plants, herbs, and elixirs, all except his favorite, the forgotten sage. And so the townspeople lay helpless, guarding the floor in pain and regret, awaiting their union with the heavens above. Outstretched arms and shivering bodies longed for their creator to drag them to peace. One night, as the apothecary footed into the grass, an odd suspicion struck him so. And as the old man raced to his home village, he tried to imagine what on earth could have persuaded him to go back. He raced through roads and houses and yards, but not a living soul was to be found, for they all lay pale and still and dead, their eyes open but their chests not moving. So the man, frail and cold, raced to his shop, and he found the scene of the crime. Sickness and famine had struck the town with no apothecary in sight. Should he feel bad? He didn't think so, as they drove him away to begin, but a cloud of remorse swirled over the man when he reached into his pocket. He pulled out the herb with a furrowed brow and could only put himself to blame, for the herb was that which could cure any illness. That herb, the forgotten sage. Thank you. Get it up. I really like this chair.
Right?
It's comfy. Okay. I wrote this poem while I was in the ICU in December of a different year. So it's called December in the ICU. Thank you. Whenever I
see sick people in love, it makes me feel like I got cheated out of this cinematically universal experience of guilting someone into falling in love with you, so you never have to be sick and alone. Loneliness is the worst part of illness. Suffering alone is always worse than just suffering, but if there's a chance that I'm not going to find the love of my life during my life, then that means I have to keep being sick and alone for the rest of my life. But with every passing year and every new friend, I've grown more comfortable with the concept that ending up without a romantic partner is not the end of the world. But this sickness and the lifestyle it dictates makes watching some sick-lit, young adult romance movie love interest the most frustrating shit imaginable, because I deserve that. Every sick person does. Someone to sleep next to in a twin-size hospital bed that moves around every hour, keeping us both awake but avoiding bed sores, I guess. I imagine them gently running their hands over my skin. I'm in the fetal position, unwillingly awake, opening my eyes and seeing someone who just desperately, selfishly wants me to get better. Someone who just stubbornly, selfishly won't leave, even when I fall asleep. But I've never woken up with anyone at my bedside. Now, I just wake to the alarms alerting people paid to care that I need someone, I need anyone to be there when I wake up. I spend mornings alone in the hospital waiting for rounds to start, kept on hold by the kitchen while I'm trying to order breakfast, a new layer of sweat adhering me to the sheet. I ache and I plead for someone to be there with me. When I don't remember what or who I'm getting better for, when I'm running a race towards a picture of health, I pretend like someone is at the finish line when I cross it. I pretend like someone is proud of me. Someone who watches movies that we've already seen because I only have the capacity to absorb that something that is familiar, bring the bong to the bed, light the bowl, pull it out, sit with me in the shower, inhaling steam like it's crack, massaging shampoo into my roots, applying conditioner to the tips, running a loofah over my sensitive skin, getting soap all up in my eyes. Just because I can't lift my arms above my head today doesn't mean I don't deserve to feel clean. I want someone who's not waiting in the waiting room for updates. They're sitting in that extra empty chair, the one they keep in the exam room for the person that comes with you. In that extra empty chair where I leave my jacket in the place of a loved one. Someone that knows how to say, I'm sorry on a bad pain day. Understands the value of a good one. Asks me if I've done my physical therapy exercises. Carries my backpack when it's too heavy. Knows all the medications I take, can do the paperwork without asking. Knows my medical history better than I do. That shit is so hot. And maybe then, this lifelong sickness would stop making me feel like my life wasn't worth living. Because that's the kind of love I want to grow old with. Someone who makes the suffering just a little less. That's it.
We have three more. We have two.
No, one more, right?
We have one more. We each have one more.
Yeah. You want to sit on that a second?
Oh, are we done yet? No, still in the chair.
Yeah.
Take it. Thank you.
Hello. In a much different tone, this is my fourth poem, and it's called The Sound Section. What is happening? The session is stretching. What should come next? A question to make you take some fake stance on romance or tap dance? Should I rap 3 bars or toy cars? What sound to you? I settle on. Is it that tap dance or rap beats or sweat heat dropping from like dimes dropped in street ball, made from your choices, bad calls or mad calls. I think sound is the sort of not the at sign or axe grind, but just the These ahs might take strange shape, or straight words heard joined into poetry slams, or passages grand, such as beauty. This time spent with just sounds, not even rhythm sounds or rounded sounds or reed bongs ripped making their own tones, just word sounds. Meaningful phonemes, God sent or him bent, just beauty to the ears. Need we shake narratives for your sake, or should we just communicate? Do these sayings take away from your time or take time out of you? I want that. I want these sounds to populate fired neurons like pop rocks or rock songs or cool rocks. I want to rock this session with messages of nothing. Maybe your thought or two, but just sound. I want experience for you, the one I got from that blue room with slight hums. I want a heart's worth to capture your imagination with the simplest line, like a bluebonnet's falling star. I want pollen everywhere so that we can all stare. Is because I'm animalistic with these fires, I see it, I want it, narcissistic with desires, this poetry, I light it like a firework, as if the night sky, my canvas, to point with this sound. We're all just foliage around words anyway. I say, paying for sounds every day. I collect them, I want them, all to myself. Every click and vowel, I want those rays of words to pass through me like plants' sunlight, turning God into sugar. Can't we all want that? To be filled with words and imagination. Can't we all admit to this primitive needing of connection, the vessel of which is sound stitched from round mouths to air to ear to this? I say just to say, look, this is it. There are no stars we do not see with a naked eye, no, not to me. So might we all just be phototropic to this exploding sun that gives us meaning? The humblest voice is voice with nothing more. The baby's cry is just as strong as mine. With love, session 4.
This is my last poem. So I started off with a poem called It's Just About Coffee, and then this one's called It's Not Really About Light Bulbs, so y'all can get a theme here. I sit in a dim room, only lit by the sun shining through thin crevices in the brick walls. And though I should exercise finding my light within, I can't resist the temptation of a brightly shining bulb, so I purchase a bulb. I screw in that very first bulb while my eyes dilate with the room's illumination, noticing cracks on the wall to which I hadn't paid attention, and chips in the paint I'd never taken notice to. My eyes peel open, revealing more than I have ever known, as I'm quite literally seeing an altered state of perception, leaving me at the mercy of discovery, not seeming to remember the near darkness in which I sat. Until that bulb goes out. Soon replaced with another, a bulb that screws in just as easy as the last, but this one is different. It dims slightly quicker, no more than a faulty, I would presume. It's a new day, and I just bought a lamp. As these bulbs are growing weaker, and I desire more light, yet I screw in each bulb, continues soaking in the world, when suddenly all of them short-circuit at once. Now, 2 lamps have been bought together, 10 bulbs, my friends say. I'm blinded by this much light, but it's them who cannot see the marred mortar of the bricks guarding the rooms where our souls sit thinking. And I've realized 10 bulbs uses up a lot of energy, noticed them darkening faster and faster. Others warn me the issue isn't with the bulbs, but now I have 3 lamps and I'm seeing just fine. In fact, When guests enter this room, they are now blinded with lights. 17 lamps sit along the perimeter, and these 850 bulbs are searing holes in my wallet, but I think it's worth it to be able to see. So here I sit, with my lamps and bright bulbs. My retinas rage and burn because of these lights, these bulbs, which soon force me into truly blind eyes, leaving me in a state of irreversible darkness. Thank you.
It's about what? It's about addiction.
Sick. Literally. Perf. Thank you guys for coming. I know it's a sleepy night and it's almost spring break, and we just really appreciate you guys supporting the artists, so thank you. This last poem is called The Day I Met You, and it's about a person we don't like. I had never fallen in love until the day that I met you. The memory leaves me heavy in the chest, knowing now how it would end. In a raging inferno, you burned me till I was filled with fire that burned everyone I touched. At 14, I felt grown. I thought, I know what I'm getting myself into. It'll be worth it. It wasn't. And now the supercut is full of people who tried to listen and care and rescue, and I disregarded them for your attention. Like Lord would always say, I left all my friends to sit in hell with you, and 10 years later, I haven't stopped writing, I haven't stopped thinking about the way you pulled my strings. How did this happen? How did you do this to me? Why did you choose me? What could I possibly have had to offer you? I turned 24 in 4 days. 10 years since I met you. I loved someone like you for a decade. I lied to myself for a decade. Pushed away my parents, my brother, my friends, my boyfriend, everyone except you. 10 years of listening to your music and watching your movies and reading your books and posing for your pictures and wearing your clothes. It makes me nauseous knowing how many years I separated from myself. Lying about who I was, believing I was a bad person, that we were the same, that I deserved you. But you needed me to be loyal to you. You could test me, be as horrible as you wanted, reaffirm I would never leave you. Did you know that I would leave? I didn't know I could, until I did. I didn't know leaving you would liberate me as much as it would terrify me. So where do I put the pain in my chest, rising from the fear that my obsession will never end? I don't want to wait another decade before you stop showing up in my nightmares. I'd rather be afraid of anything else. I can't keep waking up from nightmares of you, forgetting for a second that you hate me. Why am I ashamed to be a victim if you got off on humiliating me? Why is it my fault for falling for it? If I could just go back 10 years, I could tell myself, don't look at him. Stare forward, you don't know what you're getting into. Sit somewhere else, ignore his face burning a hole in your mind, and I'll show you his lies. I'll take you step by step, decoding the looks, translating the burns, discovering the truth of the abuse. I know it feels like you're going through this alone, but I promise you, child, you are not for a second. As low as you may get, and as far as you may run, they will find you, because they would never stop looking. So please, for the love of God, cut your parents some slack and tell your brother to learn how to take. Look around, Sabine. Your friends love you more than you think. You don't need him. But I know that doesn't matter to you. I know he's all you want. I could tell you how much he'll leave behind, how much you'll have to suffer to stay by his side, how much more you'll have to suffer once you say goodbye. So I know that this is new and you just want people to like you, but they already do. I promise you. How could they not? Your heart is so big and your voice is so tall. You could never be small. Your light shines on others even on darkest days because you love hard and true, brutally honest to a fault these days. I'm not here to change the past. I know I can't do that. But I want you to know the truth because he will make you doubt your sanity. And I don't want you to lose you. Thank you. Thanks for coming out, y'all. Take home a pizza, please. And tip your bartenders.